In 2001, when it was time to move on to the next generation of games consoles, there was one game in my PlayStation 1 library that I knew I could never part with. I've been playing Crash Team Racing since its release in 1999, on and off for what will be 20 years now. So I think I'm pretty qualified to talk some opinions on the new Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. And first off, the game itself is really awesome. I am a big fan of what Beanox has done, and if you would have told 10-year-old me that this was even possible, I would have been in complete shock. The game looks really amazing. It's sometimes hard to judge the appearance of games which carry this kind of cartoony style because it doesn't come with a massive hardware strain, but in the same vein as Ratchet & Clank, CTR is really detailed and brings the original game straight into this generation of gaming. The amount of detail on each racetrack is crazy, especially when you realise you won't be paying much attention to a lot of it because of how quick the game is. Speaking of the tracks, the game also includes every track from Crash Nitro Kart and is bringing out content and racetracks constantly. The content support for this game is like nothing I've seen in gaming recently, and it's all free. It's ridiculous. Beanox has had no problem in bringing over the sheer pace of the original as well. The feeling of speed when you hit Ultimate Sacred Fire is extremely satisfying, especially when you manage to keep it going. In terms of things to do in CTR, you are going to be kept busy for quite a while, with a full-on adventure mode, time trials to beat, battle modes, relic races, crystal challenges, all recreated perfectly from the ground up. You are definitely going to get your money's worth with this one. The sound is on point, and you can switch between the original soundtrack and an updated 2019 mix of the same tracks, which is really cool. Now, a brand new addition to CTR that wasn't possible back in the day is an online mode, and I'd like to talk a little bit more in depth with this portion of the game, as I feel this area has been the most controversial amongst diehard fans since the game's launch. Before I do though, I just want to say I'm really enjoying the game, and other than the sewer speedway walls not being drivable like in the original, I think the offline version of the game is as close to a flawless remaster as you can get, and I'm sure sewer speedway will get patched at some point down the line. With that being said, online has been an interesting one for me. The actual gameplay element of online has for the most part been very stable and very playable. Yes, there are bugs that have been patched since launch, and the odd game crash, which unluckily for me and a lot of others has made us lose all of our progress. But these have all been addressed for the most part, and Beanox has done a really good job of keeping people informed over on their Twitter page. And facing facts, playing CTR online is really fun. But for me, online gaming in 2019 takes CTR down a really unfortunate path, following a trend in gaming that I'm personally not very fond of, with what they've dubbed as the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix gives CTR the optional objective treatment, giving players objectives to complete whilst racing online, which on the surface is great. Giving people optional objectives is fine if they fit in with the idea of coming first and wanting to win, but when an objective asks you to finish in every position on Crash Cove online, why would you ever want to finish in anything other than first place? It doesn't make sense to me that you will be rewarded for coming 8th or 7th. Similarly, the objective that says use a power-up that affects everybody in the race encourages players to just hang back in 8th place to either set up a time bomb or a warp orb. The players should be trying to finish as high as possible within that race, not completing a one-off objective to get grind points for the grind meter. In my opinion, I was a little bit disappointed with the unoriginal structure that the Grand Prix is. I was chatting with my girlfriend on a topic the other day, and we came to the conclusion that it should be renamed to the Who Plays the Game the Most leaderboard, as it doesn't matter if you come in first place and receive 12 points, because the player that is less skilled than you that finishes in 5th place can just play an extra game than you and get them points. There are 2 leaderboards in total, and as many of you probably are aware of by now, one works from how many nitro points you've earned through objectives and general racing, and one works from how many points you have piled up from the positions you finish in those races. The problem is, they are for the most part the same leaderboards. The structure of both require you to just play the game, that's it. I think if you added a number of races cap to the Grand Prix leaderboard, it would actually make positions you finish in the races actually matter. Let's say you added a cap of 350 races for one season. That means you have 350 races within that month to stack up as many points from high positioned finishes as you can, and that is it. So you will get a final points score. Then you will have 2 separate leaderboards, one for skill and then one for your grinding. A big thing that I think is missing from online is a few different modes as well. So as of this video, there is one type of race you can play, and that's a standard race. I know the diehard CTR community would love a no weapons race to really test their skills maintaining ultimate sacred fire for a whole race in a competitive environment. You can include a weekly mode from Beanox with random weapons and tracks enabled or disabled, like a TNT only race on Turbo Track, or if you really wanted to make people rage quit, a time bomb only race on Hyper Speedway. It may seem like I'm coming across a little bit harsh. I know the online has not been out long, but I'm not interested in Crash Team grinding. I think grinding is a big problem in gaming at the moment, and gaming culture in general. A format that was once reserved for the RPGs of the world has somehow made its way into every game on the market, and CTR has followed the trend. But thankfully, the game has 0 microtransactions, which is a big plus for me. With that being said, I love this game, and it was always going to be a day one purchase for me that I'm glad to say I don't regret. Racing online with my brother like it's 1999 again is extremely fun, and offline aspects have been perfectly recreated. I just think the online has a lot of potential, and Beanox took the easy option. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to stick around for some more down to earth gaming talk, the easiest way to do that is to hit subscribe and the like buttons. Catch you guys in a bit.